How are you?
I'm all right. How are you guys?
Oh,
Good.
I'm just over here complaining about the weather like I do every show.
Oh,
So,
that's that's pretty common for us too. I mean, like I'm in North Carolina with family right now, and Joey is back home in New York, and we're talking about the weather every day. He's like, "Well, it's just a few degrees warmer. It's 40 degrees." I'm like, "Oh my God, it's humid and weird here and 60 something. I don't know."
yeah, it's been here at least. We were covered in ice for the longest time. It
Yeah.
felt like
Yeah.
a month. It was probably like a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks that we were completely covered. And finally it's starting to thaw off. But now they're saying we might get more snow this weekend.
Oh no.
But it's been nice here, so I don't think it's going to stick or anything because it's been so
Okay.
good. But
Hopefully not.
you know,
Yeah.
Supposed to get cold again for a couple of days. We'll see.
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just tired of it. Tired of it.
You see, now you sound like me in about July and August.
I don't. I will not feel or understand your pain in July or August after this winter.
I
Oh.
mean, again, it was only 2 weeks. It's only
It
two.
was
It's only
it
two
was
weeks.
two and a half of pure ice on the ground. So no, no,
Yeah, there's no comparison, huh?
no. Where every time I go outside, I'm risking breaking a hip.
Oh. Oh
You
boy.
know.
I mean, every time I think about moving up north or like going someplace where it's cooler a lot more, I'm like every time I see that 2 weeks and it's completely. I'm done. I don't need to go anywhere. Anywhere where it snows a lot.
Well, you can
Yeah,
always
but
visit. Like, I mean,
True.
you know people in New York if you happen to want to come up.
I
So for
mean,
a visit.
I would definitely love to come visit you guys and do some investigating, but
yeah.
knowing I can always go back,
Right.
I would say get away from the snow, but that might not actually be the case anymore. Although
I don't know.
we don't really get that much snow that much, so this may be like a once every 5 year thing that ever happens around here. Usually it passes us by, so I'm not really too concerned about it.
Yeah.
Um, so we did have you on the show before,
Hmm.
and there's something wrong with the microphone. Your thing, your stuff kept cutting out.
I'm sorry about
No,
that. Yeah.
no, it's fine. It's fine. But I want to kind of start from the beginning.
Hmm.
For those people on TikTok who don't know your story, how did you get started? How did you know that you had the gift? You were an automatic drawer, right? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, so there's a few different things that you could say, like intuitive art. You could do automatic drawing, and I've always felt like, okay, this is something that has been a like intuition is within everyone to a degree. It's just a skill of how far are you willing to go with it? How far are you willing to exercise that part of you? And um, I've known also it's sort of a genetic trait in my family and both sides of my family that have somewhat of a gift in some of those things. But when I started to befriend Joey and years ago, and when we started to really connect on things, we started talking about automatic drawing because before we really talked about, I guess, what people call the woo woo stuff and
Mhm.
everything. We connected on art just in general. And in general, we talked about art. That's how we connected. We like drawing portraits and painting art in general. And we started talking about intuitive art and automatic drawings. Like, hey, is this something that you've done as a kid? It was also a practice, and automatic drawing and intuitive art. It's something that some people do just before they actually start painting, just before they start drawing, just to kind of get into like somewhat of a meditative state or just kind of get a feel for an exercise before actually doing art in general. We started connecting on that subject and like, oh yeah, I used to do that. You used to do that, like that kind of thing when we were kids.
How do you know like the difference between automatic drawing and just drawing? What is the like? How do you feel? Is there a difference like in the way you
Yeah.
do things when you're automatically drawing compared to when you're drawing on your own?
Okay. Very interesting I love that you asked that because when when I start doing, okay, if I'm doing a painting or a portrait, I automatically know what I'm going to do. Like I already have in my head how I want to do the drawing, the portrait, the painting. I already know, like, okay, I've done portraits of like Boris Karloff, Brandon Lee, things like that. And like I have a reference image. I know how I'm going to do this to a degree. It's planned. Stuff like that is planned. But going into intuitive art or automatic drawing, you don't have preconceived notions. You just start doing it. And sometimes you can start meditating before you do it, or praying, or have some form of, how you want to kind of have a spiritual thing with that relationship with your art. For me, it's been talking to spirit guides, my spirit team, and that's the difference for me.
Okay. I gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So,
kind of like you sit down with no expectations, just like I'm
Mhm.
gonna draw whatever comes, or
Mhm.
like Ryan, like that, like you sit down, say I'm gonna draw a picture of a vase with yellow flowers in it, like the picture behind you. So
Yep.
it's something you're very intention. It's you're not intentional when you're doing the automatic, other than you're just your intention is whatever comes for whatever reason.
Exactly.
now, do you know what you're drawing when you're drawing it, or do you just go completely blank and then we'll look up and there's a picture?
Okay. There's times with automatic drawing, I don't always know. There's words, there's images that come to me and I start doing it. I'm like, okay, I've got this. Even sometimes automatic writing comes into play. I'm like, there's a word above this that I need to implement with this symbol or something. And I'm like, okay, I don't understand this right now, but I might look at it later. And Joey, when he does this, for him, his process is, well, if I turn the page over and rotate it, I might see it a certain way that I didn't see it before. That's one of his processes.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
definitely.
find so you use this in the paranormal? Do you do this do you do more automatic drawing or intuitive drawing before you go to a location?
I prefer to do it before. I prefer to go in blindly.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Um, how do you do it? Because and the reason I'm trying to get my words straight how to do it, because I've seen people who do automatic drawing or automatic writing, like even
Mhm.
if they're just doing the automatic writing or remote viewing. I guess are
Right.
you there's the key of what I want to ask.
Remote
Do
viewing.
you do
It's kind
both?
of like that.
Are you doing remote viewing where you're kind of looking at where you feel things and like locations in the house and picking out, like I've done it one location or two, I just picked up there was going to be a pink couch. I just
Mhm.
knew there was this pink couch with this little table beside it. So are you doing the layout of the building, or are you more looking for what spirits you might come in contact with, or just both? Maybe you have a picture of a room and a spirit. I don't know. Just curious.
Well, I'm gonna definitely say, so for me, it's not something that I don't see the whole picture. I don't always see a full building. Like sometimes I get symbols within symbols and stuff. I see one person who has joined AJ Art, and she said something like she was asking Joy about my process. And she said, where do you start? Do you breathe and draw? What do you see or feel? It's kind of like the same things you guys are asking. Like, yeah, I breathe. I do my meditations first, um, my communications with my spirit teams first. But when I'm finished with that, when Joey and I are finished with those processes, and then I start working, and then when he starts working, like some of the things we see and feel, like one person that I have worked with, I did not know what she was going to give me. I just knew she gave me, like, I call a reference like image. She sent me a picture of a house. I knew nothing about this house. And she said, see what you feel from this, and if you could do some artwork. And I did the artwork, and but before I did the artwork, I did my my prayers, my meditations, and I'm like, I don't like the feeling I'm getting. It was one of the most unsettling. It was not like a oh, super cool, I feel cozy doing this. Like, oh no, I did not like the vibe. I'm like, and then sometimes things come to me before I start drawing. Number 3 kept popping in my mind, and and then once I really started drawing, I'm seeing like, oh, as an example, I'm seeing this huge ring, like almost like a diamond ring, and then I see this really intense looking guy and shadowy kind of guy, and then the words after I draw him, I hear the words like boom boom, really intentional. And then, long story short, there's a lot of layers to this, but when I gave this back to the person, she said, oh, that was the that picture, I call that place like the unaliving house. The guy pew-pewed this woman twice, and I had boom boom written down twice. And then later, I didn't tell Joey about what I got, but he did his artwork. And then I found out with that whole ring, it's like a substances ring involved.
Okay.
And then Joey did his, and he's like, I got a mushroom and some angry looking guys. And there were a few people involved in this. And I'm like, that was an intense situation. There will be content on this probably, I'd say within April, we'll be able to release some content with more details on that.
How long, when you go through something like this, how long does it affect you after you're done? Does it take you a while for you to come back to your normal self, or how long does the process take to start being back to yourself again?
Oh, that one was the one that had me most shaken. Because that one took me like hours to kind of retrieve my, I guess, I wouldn't say what, I just felt tired and I felt kind of anxious. I'm like, oh, that was a really lot to take in. But it's a lot of times after doing stuff like this, it depends on what it is and how I want to try to retrieve my agency and everything. I like to wash away things, have a shower, and then kind of try to have my intentions and kind of cleanse away things, that sort of thing. So I've always felt like it just depends on your intention and how you should take care of yourself. I think a lot of the time, for me personally and for Joey, as much as people are really into the paranormal and wanting to communicate with spirit or the other side, it's just as important to talk to your spirit team and ask for protection and guidance and make you feel calm after. Like, a lot of prayer, a lot of communication is involved for me to talk to my team on those things.
Yeah,
I suggest it.
that's such a good point, because one thing I've been doing, depending on the location and how much I'm trying to be open in the location. There are locations I go in like I have no intention of opening up to spirit. Like, I will very much close off as much as I possibly can. But when I'm gonna be open, sometimes depending on the location, I'll have a conversation with my spirit team ahead of time and be like, I need you to be the gatekeeper. I need you to like legitimately like be the bouncer. You sit there, you cycle them to me. Do not send them if they shouldn't come. And kind of act as that buffer for me.
Right. I have someone in the chat. She said, Paranormal Joy. She said, yes, that's the one I worked on with her. Paranormal Joy is the one that gave me the photo that I recently talked about. Paranormal Joy, like I've said to them, I mentioned a little bit about it. Joey and I will plan to do some content with that come April. There's other things kind of going on right now until then, but yeah.
So
Feels like you guys have been busy.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on.
So you guys talk about contacting your spirit team. How does one go about talking to their spirit team if they want to try something like that?
Well, it's a personal thing. And honestly, I feel like talk to your spirit team, your spirit guides, like you would, your own loved one that you're close to, because those individuals, those spirits with you, your loved ones, your ancestors, I've known in my heart and soul, like a lot of the ones that are on your side, like they've loved you since before you came here, into this existence, and you've known them. The way you vibe with, people here, um, your loved ones here, and that you get along well with, talk to them the same way you would, like, hey mom, hey dad, or hey bro, cuz, that kind of thing. Talk to them as if you would want to be treated and spoken with love. Doesn't even always have to be vocal. It could be, quiet. It could be written. But set your intention with them.
Can you take us through your meditation process? What do you do? How do you go about getting started with that?
Well, there's nuance. A lot of people do things differently, but for me and Joey, we're not always in the same room when we're doing it together. Like, we've done these things states apart. I've been here in North Carolina before while he's in New York. I'll kind of do my thing alone. He'll do his thing alone sometimes. And then there's times when we are in the same room and we'll even like pray, meditate together. It's important for us to be in a quiet space. It's important to make sure that we try to have our mind clear. And then sometimes, before really getting into the conversation, breathing, and then sometimes even counting, focusing on breathing, and then and it can be intentional before you really kind of feel out yourself in the situation with, how I'm working with Joey. It can be intentional. You can call on a specific relative on the other side or a specific spirit guide. There have been times when I'm like, I really feel like I should speak to my great grandfather, or I feel like I should be speaking to some of my ancestors or indigenous relatives from Mexico on things. It just depends on your intention with your meditation before getting into those conversations.
Now, this might help Ryan. Ryan is trying to get more in tune. And he struggles with meditation. So, I
It's
kind
hard.
of shared with him with how I did it. How did you go about, like, you've mentioned, that some of them are your loved ones on the other side, but we know we have spirit guides. We've got,
Oh, yeah.
all of that. How did you go about meeting? Like, for me, I did certain meditations to find out the ones that I didn't know were there, to kind of, get a flavor for that. But how did you figure out who your other spirit guides were?
So, okay. I knew from the get-go, like when I was a child, I knew who I've had, like after knowing some, as far as like relatives go, I knew who was there, especially after some people have passed and then there were just paranormal experiences. There were even like dreams. But when it comes to spirit guides, sometimes you can even ask signs. You know, before, it's not always in meditation, but sometimes again, like you can ask specific things. Like, okay, for example, if you want to know what kind of guide you have, you can always ask like for a sign, like, hey, could you give me an idea of who you are or what you are? Could you come to me in a dream for that and let me remember that dream? Because that's something that's always been strong for me, is through dreams as well. Some people do receive that information like that. And I know it's not easy for people to meditate all the time. I've had my own issues with it too. But I know Joey is the main one that he gets his complexes with it. But sometimes it's like a matter of like trying to do the breathing, trying to do the visual or get the visual of what is the thing that he does? He says he just likes to sit and kind of imagine like that blank paper,
Mm-hmm.
and then do the breathing, sometimes the counting. It just depends on the moment for him.
Yeah, and that's something else. Everybody else does it. Everybody does it a little different. Like for me, and I think it's how you might have met people who taught you. But there's
Mhm.
so many. There's no right or wrong. I think it's
No.
just helpful to hear how other people did it. Like for me, I had one of my mentors through meditation. She did a guided meditation where you created what we called your spirit room. And so
Mhm.
whenever I go there, I go when I like in my mind's eye, I go to this door. You know, I don't have anybody tell it. I just go to the
Right.
door. I know what the doorknob looks like, what it feels like. I open it up and I see which one of them is in there when I go in, and I know that's who I'm supposed to be talking about this investigation or something personal in my life or whatever. So, but the room always looks the same. You know, every so once in a while I'll meditate and go, you know, redecorate and cleanse it and do things like that. But there's always somewhere that's like my safe space to go work with my spirit guides. But everybody has
Yeah.
something a little bit different. And meditation, you know, I've been at this now probably pushing 10 years with meditation and really spirit work. There are
Mhm.
still where I'm like, well, that was a waste of 10 minutes. All I did was think about my grocery list, you
I
know?
think
And you just go,
Right.
okay, it didn't work that time. It just didn't. I couldn't do it. So it's
No.
okay, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of nuance to it, and I saw where Paranormal Joy, she said something about um she adds monk mantras and meditation music. I'm glad she mentioned music because that's another thing that Joey and we connect on is music. And it's been kind of a new thing for us lately to listen to meditative music. Like we've only done that what, maybe 4 times now? I can only
Very
count on
cool.
like this hand for that.
Yeah, music for me helps a lot sometimes.
Hmm.
I can do it in total quiet if I need to, but
Hmm.
just to even if I just put in earbuds in and listen to, you know, Native American flute music or something of
Right.
that to get me in that state of where I know I'm relaxed.
Yeah. I love that you mentioned that about Native American music because that also reminds me there was one time I have this one friend, she's also a medium from Concord, North Carolina. And I guess I would consider her somewhat of a mentor. Her name's Amy. Her stuff on Instagram and YouTube is ghost storying. But she's an incredible person. But she's got she didn't tell me so much about this one trip she went to. Even if she did, I wouldn't have been able to remember it because I was so busy with other things. And she sent me some photos from this trip and kind of give me an exercise for what I do. And I looked at the photos and I'm like, okay, I feel like this is one of the openings to start using meditative music, but I feel intentional for this one. This one feels like it requires Native American music. So that was sort of the gateway for feeling out the meditative music was, oh, indigenous music. This suits this for some reason. It feels right. Turns out when Joey and I were working on that one, she went to Mount Shasta and there were just layers to that place where medicine men were involved. There was like people evidently went there and they would get lost in time. Like there's portals there and I felt like when I was drawing like wolf spirits and medicine men. And like, this is really interesting, and it kind of connects to me on an interesting level because of I'm my dad's side of the family is indigenous to Mexico, and I'm like, I feel really connected to this. This is really cool. Um, this definitely feels like it's more on the Western side.
Mhm.
And then when I gave the photos back to Amy, and she said, "Yeah, that's from Mount Shasta." She said, "Yeah, you hit all of those things right. The medicine man, the wolf spirits, the layers of things that you have here. At some point, that will also be content, but I'm waiting on Amy to share hers first."
That's awesome.
Wow, that's so cool, and especially Native music. That's very, very, very spiritual
It
people.
is.
So they put that intention into their music.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And the one thing that, that's kind of, I don't like to say monolithic, but I'd say what keeps all of us connected, especially, if we have those roots here in the Americas, there's always the drum. There's always that feeling that we get from the drum.
mhm,
And it feels like home. There's comfort in that.
like a heartbeat,
I'm sorry.
like a heartbeat.
Exactly. Yeah.
I think my problem was it's just not knowing what is just my thoughts and what are spiritual thoughts. Like trying to figure out the difference between the two. Hey, Brooke,
Hmm.
and that's the thing. When you come to that kind of stuff, you really got to trust your instincts and trust yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And get past that wall that people put on themselves. Like people who think they can't do it because they think they need to be some kind of special person
No.
to do all this stuff, and that's not
Yeah.
the case at all. But
No. Yeah.
It's
I
a
mean,
muscle. It just needs to be exercised.
exactly.
yeah,
Exactly. Everyone's born with this to a degree, but how much do you really want to challenge that and work with that? Like you say, it's muscle. You got to work it. You use it or lose it too. Sometimes you reconnect to it and then you're not with it for a time. Like I actually went through that as a teenager because I was like going through a funk of, when you're a teenager, you're trying to figure out who you are. And I'm like, there's too much going on. I don't want to see stuff. I don't want to feel stuff. I don't even really want to do it in my art as much. I just want to exist.
yeah. Especially being a teenage girl, lots of
Yeah.
emotions, lots of stuff. You're like, I don't need that kind of shit right now. I got enough stuff going on. I don't need
Exactly.
to be dealing with trying to draw dead people right now. Um,
Yeah.
but when did you start going back? When did you really realize, hey, I'm past this part of my life? When
I think when COVID happened, I think it made people reflect a lot on themselves and who they are because, they were hindsight's 2020, with
yeah.
everything 2020 when everything went
2020
down.
right there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that sounded cheesy, but it's kind of true.
It
Spiritually,
is true. Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, numbers are a big deal in spiritual world too.
it is.
So there you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, a lot of us were in a time of, discovering what more was there to us, to life. There were a lot of weird things going on, and the veil shaking and thinning in some ways too. It's
I got a question on that.
I felt like that.
Real quick. I got a question on that real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think everything that happened in 2020 happened for a reason? You think about everything, the spiritual, stuff going on. Do you think it was? I don't want to say intentional, but it seems like we all kind of had a reset during that time that we kind of needed.
Oh yeah, I 100%, 100%. I definitely think a lot of us needed to have a lot of self-reflection. Some people would call it shadow work, but a lot of us had to really figure out how we felt about ourselves, our spirituality, all of it. And so Paranormal Joy says it right, like right here. It was to shift.
Yeah,
It was.
we're almost forced to
Exactly.
look at ourselves because we didn't really have much else to do.
Right.
And we learned to enjoy it. I mean, I can remember, and I've had so many people said during that time, like, they hated the isolation,
Right.
but they were like, I love the slower pace, like how everything's just slowed down and they've got time to do things they didn't have or things like that. And we're like, we don't ever want to go back to that. But now it's a little scary because you see everybody going right back where we were, like nothing ever happened. And it's kind of like, oh gosh, are we going to get another shakeup because nobody learned their lesson the last time?
Yeah, I mean, there were some positive things to it. Things that, like, there were some things that I really enjoyed was finding different creative like outlets and trying to kind of look back and reflect on, is that something I want to do again? Do I really
Yeah.
want to touch
Mhm.
base on that again? You know?
Yeah. And you almost feel bad about saying there's good stuff about COVID because people dealt with a lot of stuff, but there was
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
positive things about not COVID, but the what we went through on personal
On a
levels.
personal level.
Yeah.
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 No, for sure. Yeah. No, there were a lot of things that were really, I mean, me, I have, those that have health stuff or immunocompromised, like, or dealing with health things. It was definitely a scary time
Yeah.
for that. Anyone that deals with stuff like that, it was definitely a scary time. But, and then seeing what was going on in the outside world for sure. But, there was, yeah, when it came to personal levels and how you felt about yourself and how you were forced to reflect on things and spirituality and everything.
Do you
There
think
were
you'd
times.
do you think you'd be as far as you are now if you had not gone through what happened in 20 with COVID?
No, I don't think so. I don't think so because I think like everyone else, I was forced to kind of slow down on a lot of things because like also at the time prior to that, I was working more in film, like, and I still do, but I was working more on set because I was doing more as a makeup artist. I was doing more as a wardrobe person. But when I learned to get more creative with other things, like, okay, I got to teach art lessons or production lessons via Zoom or have Zoom meetings about other ways how to work with the people that I work with um, at the time. And I'm like, well, I have some more free time. I kind of want to, do things for myself on a spiritual level, you know,
Yeah.
get
Mhm.
get
Mhm.
back to that side of me. Because I don't think if it weren't for that, I wouldn't really be who I am now, where I am spiritually now.
Yeah. You definitely need to stop and take time for yourself.
Yeah,
Even like you just for like you said, take 5 or 10 minutes to go to meditate. Just
yeah,
you know.
yeah. That's the thing. I mean, and even there are times like you could even do it just having a moment to yourself in the bathroom, like shower or whatever, like a couple minutes. I didn't even really think much about until that time, like, well, I could actually just enjoy this Depeche Mode in my mind, enjoy the silence and actually just try to get with it here.
That's a good song.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
I think it's weird too that I've noticed more recently that I get in meditative states probably because I've gotten better at meditating. Like I've just noticed like cutting grass, I'll be in my own little world. I
Mhm.
wouldn't know if anything happened. Just doing something sometimes repetitive. Like when I used to have a pool, just like when I was cleaning the leaves out of the pool, that was like I almost got into a meditative state because all I was
Yeah.
thinking about was the water and you know,
Mowing the
And
lawn.
yeah,
and it's
mowing the
it's
lawn, driving.
it's different for everyone. Like I mean, you could be sweeping, washing dishes or just, like I say, that you swirling on the paper with your pencil and like there's different ways of kind of just letting that hit your mindset and it could be counting, breathing. But then there's just some things that relax you. Find that. Um, I don't know if you guys have followed the monks when they were doing their walk for peace.
I
Yep.
actually got to see them. Yeah.
Me too.
That's awesome. I've really enjoyed seeing that and how they have been practicing and expanding on the mindfulness and the breathing that they've been teaching to everyone. I'm like, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
That was such a treat.
Most definitely.
Do you think this, like, spiritual drawing and automatic drawing, you think it's becoming more accepted in the world today?
Oh gosh, see, that's a great question because I don't know a lot of people that do it. Um, I know when Joey and I were kind of doing that, when we were trying to do that and share that a little bit of the journey here we're like, we don't know a lot of people that do that. I mean, we know there's people like, I could never say her last name right. I'm sorry. There's Cindy Kaza. Sorry. I know who she is. I mean, we've seen her on, so many, things like Jack Osborne's podcasts and shows and things like that. And she was at New Jersey Unity Expo, and we've been to that one before, but we didn't get to go to the one where she was at, because we would have loved to talk to her about, that kind of thing, because we don't know a lot of people that really utilize art in that form.
Yeah.
But we would love to communicate with more people that do.
What is something that one thing you would want to say to someone to help them explain what you do?
To explain to someone what we do,
like they don't understand. Like, what would you be like?
Yeah.
Okay, this is in a nutshell to explain to them what you do. What was one thing you'd be like? Okay, this is to make it easy for someone to understand.
Okay, yeah. So I guess it depends on who you're talking to, right? But people that are into the subjects that we're talking about, it's like, okay, learning the phrases, like, okay, I didn't know a whole lot of the terms of what people use, like remote viewing. That's still kind of new to me. I just know what feels right, but put those terms aside and say, okay, so here's what we do. We take our pencil, our paper, those are our tools. And then it's kind of like, you're getting a feeling, you're getting, something kind of that push and pull on the paper with your pencil. It doesn't always feel like you're doing it. It feels like something is with you because like you've asked for that specific thing to be right there with you. Or sometimes you probably didn't ask for it. But I would, because like I say, talking to your spirit team is just as important, especially for the guidance and protection, because you shouldn't just be doing it on the fly because you don't know what you're inviting. It's no different than a tool like a Ouija board or something,
AJ asked if your eyes are open when you do the drawings.
Okay, that's a great question. There have been a lot of times where my eyes are open. There have been times when I'm not looking at the paper and I'm just kind of letting it go. I'll close my eyes for a little bit, but not long. So it just depends on the feeling for, I feel like I need to close my eyes for a second. 1, 2, 3, look up. I don't know. I feel like I need to be in this direction, looking in this direction while I'm making this move here. My hand feels like it's moving this way now, or it shifts. And Joy said it's trust. So yeah, you have to, it's like trusting a process.
It is. I'll say I don't do automatic drawing, but I do try to do automatic writing from time to time. And I'm like you. Sometimes my eyes are open, and then sometimes they're not.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's literally just a bunch of scribble and a weird word or just something.
Yeah.
How often have you done this your artwork for something, and then all of a sudden, like a week or two later, you're like, I want to go look at that again. And like all of a sudden you're like, ding, 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 I know what that means now.
Yes.
I know what that is.
That happens to me often, actually. I have a really personal experience. I had this is gonna be a little bit of a sad one. I had one guy who asked me, I can't share his artwork, but I can tell a little bit of the story. So this was around the holidays. He asked me and Joey if we could do some artwork for him. But things, holidays are crazy. You got other things going on. And I was like, okay, I promise Joey and I will get to it as soon as possible. And I told him, and then we did it. But by the time I did it, it was after the fact of I had a relative. I learned a relative of mine from Mexico. She unexpectedly passed. That was a huge blow. I spent a lot of time with her. I spent a lot of time with her and her children, my relatives in Mexico, every other holiday. every other Christmas season, I would go see family there. She's the one cousin and her kids I would see. And then I was like, oh my gosh, we promised to do this artwork for this guy, and I need to get with it. I need to get my emotions right. I need to, deal with this, because this was after my birthday in January. And I did the artwork for this guy, and Joey wasn't involved in this one. I said, I'll just do this one. It's fine. I feel like there's this time. Sometimes you just feel like there's a certain time that you need to do something, and promised this guy I would do it. And I did. And it was really weird. Sometimes things come. Like I say, you see something in your mind's eye. I saw mountains. I drew mountains. I saw this woman with dark bangs, like looking over these mountains. And I was like, why am I feeling my cousin? Like this, I'm like, I feel like, but also I'm like, she passed not long ago. It couldn't be Fatima. But I learned after giving this artwork back to this guy, his sister's name was also Fatima.
Wow.
And the mountains,
Wow.
he's done martial arts, and he was called the Mountain in martial arts.
Interesting.
And his sister had passed of cancer years ago. That hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, oh my God, that's my cousin and his sister coming through. I'm like, that wasn't for just him. That was for me. So
yeah, that can happen, right? That the message is as much for you as it is for your client.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, I didn't think a lot about some of that until after doing that piece. I was like, when he had, finally responded to some of those messages and told me, how things looked for him and resonated for him. And I have another friend who's a medium, and I was like, look, he was hoping, I found out he was hoping that I could pick up on his cat who had passed. I said, there's just some things, we're only given, but to a degree. And I just found it kind of strange how my cousin came through, and my friend who is a medium too, she said, it was supposed to happen the way it happened. By the way, did he have a black cat? I was like, and then I had to go and look at his personal profile. I was like, oh my God, he had a black cat. And she's like, well, you need to tell him his cat is fine and it's climbing trees. So I'm like, there are things later on that kind of layer up differently. The messages you receive differently. And then even Joey looked back and he was like, oh, there's cat eyes in that? I'm like, oh no, I thought there was just like something in the clouds or something. But no, when looking back at some of that artwork.
It goes back to what Rhonda was saying earlier, go back and go back a week later, go back with fresh eyes and be like, oh, okay, now I see that stuff. That's that's wild. Let's see. AJ says your symbolism, getting to know your symbolism is important and will come.
Yeah, definitely. It's very true.
Well, I have someplace I want to sue you. I want to get a drawing from you.
For sure.
On the place I'm talking. I mean, Rhonda knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'll be going.
Yeah, don't tell me much at all.
No, I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, I've been meaning to ask you about that. What is one drawing where when you looked at it, besides the boom boom one, where you're like, I really wish I hadn't drawn this?
Oh, good question.
I do have one, and it wasn't intentional. I think I did a content on it. This was like 3 years ago. I was in Mexico. I was visiting family. I didn't have the intention of doing intuitive art at all. I had my abuelo, my grandfather, he had a friend of his, who it's this young lady. She's so wonderful. She keeps care of my abuelito and his wife, checks on them, runs errands for them. And I really liked her, and we vibed, we talked, and she was like, "Hey, could you do some artwork for me sometime?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." I mean, she sees me sketching, just doing little sketches here and there, not intuitive, but just stuff I like to do. She liked my artwork, and I said, "Yeah, I'll do some artwork." She wanted me to draw a picture of her boyfriend. And I got the picture of her boyfriend, and I'm like, "Oh, this guy looks like a player. I don't like this. And I don't like judging people, but he looks like he's just not a good guy. All right, I'll draw this for her. I'll do the thing because she asked me to do it. She's a good girl. She's a great person to my grandparent, my
Did she
grandfather.
want like a caricature of the boyfriend? What was she trying to get you to do? Like,
She just wanted a drawing. No, I didn't really do character, just a portrait, just a sketch drawing of the
okay,
boyfriend.
all right. So
I was
I got
doing
you.
the drawing. And I'm like, "Oh, I don't like the feeling I'm getting of this guy. Why? He feels like a player. I don't need to be thinking about this drawing in this way. Why am I feeling this way?" I'm like, "This isn't gonna last. I feel like this isn't gonna last with her and this guy." I finished the sketch, I gave it back to her, and I was like, "Well, I hope you like the drawing."
So almost became intuitive while you were drawing it.
Yes.
Even though you
Yeah,
weren't going
yeah.
into it like that.
Yeah. That relationship did not last.
It's one of those, it's like, okay, I was asked to draw a picture. She didn't ask for anything else.
Yeah, you
Yes.
didn't ask for an opinion or you're like a
I
running
shouldn't.
commentary. Yeah.
I gotta
No.
keep this to myself because it's, I don't
Exactly.
want to infringe on her. I don't want to infringe on her free will by telling her boyfriend is a tool. But
Yes. Exactly. I'm like, there's so much machismo oozing out of this, but I can't tell her that. So I had to keep that to myself because I'm like, I didn't like that came through. So that was a really interesting experience.
Has it happened before or since then? When you pick up
No.
on things like that?
Not with a person, but there have been things like where I'm drawing like just little places and stuff, and I'll do like portrait things, not portrait, but like scenic things. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this place. But I mean, I do know how I feel, but it's like, it feels interesting. It either feels peaceful or it doesn't. And I'm like, I kind of hold on to it. And then I wonder. But I just don't totally get into it because it's almost like I would prefer to, if I'm going to do something like that, I would prefer to really, have that spirit team with me. And I didn't really like the whole thing with the guy.
Right.
I try to be intentional with what I want to do. That's the thing is what I'm trying to say.
Do you find it's easy to compartmentalize? Like, this is how I feel now, but I can go on and do my own thing later on.
It's easier now. Yeah, for sure.
That's good.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah, those were some of the things.
do you find yourself drawing people more or buildings, like, or is it kind of the same?
It's a little bit of everything. I feel like what comes through to me, the thing going into it, I always say, to my team, my spirit team, I'm like, please give me what you want me to see for this place, this individual, because it's people, it's objects, it's symbols, it's like, and it can be places, it can be little things referencing like a building or something. I'm trying to think of an example of something of a place. We went to Liberty Hall Museum in New Jersey. I didn't know anything about the history. And there is a video on that. And we were like, oh, we get to go ghost hunting with John Zaffis? That's awesome. But let's do some drawings before we go into this. And I remembered before doing that, Joey, he was drawing, he drew some kind of grave and some little animals. And then I'm like, well, I didn't get that. I ended up drawing horses and some guy running away from a staircase. I'm like, that's really specific, but that came to me. we get to Liberty Hall Museum, and in the building where we met John Zaffis and the people that are going to be doing this group ghost hunt, I look, people be like, oh, look, there's John Zaffis. I'm like looking at the wall. There's paintings of people with horses. I'm like, Joey, look. And then there's the staircase in this painting where this guy's running away. I ended up talking to, I'm like, that's like my drawing. I had to talk to the people who worked at Liberty Hall Museum. I'm like, what's the story behind this painting with the guy running away from the staircase? She said, well, the woman who lived there, she was unalived by a pew pew, and but her ghost still haunts the place. And the guy in the painting saw her ghost on that staircase and he ran away.
Oh, wow.
Oh, cool.
And the thing that Joey had, they said, oh, yeah, there are pets that are buried here of people that lived here. So, and he had little pets and like a gravestone. Like, we did something pretty specific for that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we
it's
have
crazy.
we have a little video of that here on TikTok. I'm pretty sure we have it on Instagram, and we recently put up a FB page, and I think we put it on the YT page too. But anyway, the video is there. You just gotta look for it.
Cool.
What do you like to use to what do you like to use to draw? Like kind of pen, pencil,
Pencil.
Yeah.
pencil.
I like using graphite pencils, but paper wise, I like the multimedia, like small sketchbooks, because they're easier to carry around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what we like to use, is like the smaller ones with the thick kind of paper, because who knows, maybe one day I might want to change it up and start actually using some watercolor painting and start experimenting more with that side of intuitive art. I just haven't done that yet.
Do you get a lot of people asking questions, asking you for drawings?
Not a lot, but we've had some. I'm glad we didn't have a lot of requests at the times that, because we've got other things going on, other work and other things going on. And I'm like, there are people asking. Me and Joey were like, oh, there's people asking. It's good for us to exercise that. And we've enjoyed it. And we do get people asking, but we haven't expected the amount of people that have as we have. It's interesting. But it's not a lot, but it's enough. I guess I have one friend, like the friend out in Concord, who would say like, things like that will come to you when it's supposed to. And I'm like, I believe that, because there's only so much of that I can handle as requests from that time to now. When the time comes that we may want to receive more, I'm sure we will.
Yeah, it's all about timing.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
What you can handle.
Yeah.
I have one more question. What is the best thing about, in your mind, in like for you personally, what's the best thing about what you do?
What is the best thing? Art in general. Spirit, because those two things are so intertwined. Like even just saying the word it's like you're connecting to that higher self of yourself and something, because art and spirituality is very much entwined. I highly believe that a lot of the things, the music, the art that we're given, it's strongly connected to here and the other side. So I hope that makes sense to you.
Yeah, definitely does. How about you, Rhonda? What do you have?
I think my last question is, how do you feel like from the time you started your intuitive artwork to where you are now, how much has it changed, or how has it changed?
Oh man. It's just growth. We called it Sketchy and Spooky Journeys because like yeah, we like to sketch. Sometimes it can be a spooky. It's a journey. It's still a process, and it's like looking at when we started. It's like, oh, we just, we didn't know the intention of who would want to see our journey, but we just wanted to share it. And I'm glad that we have, because I didn't know that we would be having conversations with those like yourself. I didn't know that we just so happened to come across some kind of paranormal event that would, never thought we would see the day we would be going to things like that, or paranormal joy. Your tribe found you. Exactly. You find the people, like,
Yeah.
that the people. It's such a huge deal of who you connect with. Again, it's spirit. It's those that you end up connecting with.
Do you have any particular events or anything that you all will be or like paranormal events or things that you'll be attending this year, or have you planned any?
We're not 100% yet. There's one we're looking at in Atlantic City, but we don't know if we're actually going to be working it, but we want to at least just go and see a friend there who will be doing readings. But we don't have concrete plans of events of when we'll be doing this stuff, because there's so many other things going on. Like, I'm here in my home state right now because of work and family, and because of family, my dad has a surgery coming up, and my focus is always like my work and family first before I really invest so much in events for things like that. But I know we'll talk about that, and we'll share more on that when the timing is right for that kind of stuff. As far as displaying that at places, I just know the time isn't right now. Hopefully hopefully in the fall at least. But
well, we have Cabin Con coming up here in Virginia, and it's not too far from North Carolina.
Yeah, that's right.
Come up and see Rhonda and I. We'll be at the Cabin Con on May 15th and 16th.
Okay.
Come hang out with us. It'll be fun. Putting it out there into universe, making my intentions,
We'll meet up in person.
Yeah. Yes. No, I'd love it. I'd love to meet you guys. It'd be, you'll have to try to send me a message to remind me about timing and how far apart that is, because I'm bad. I have to write things down.
Me too.
Yeah, me too. I'm
old-fashioned calendar. I don't even put it in my phone.
Yeah, I've got everything written down, like all the stuff about the shows and different notebooks and stuff like that. Where can people find you? Or obviously on TikTok. But you got stuff on YouTube, and you started a new Facebook page too, didn't you?
Yeah. We just started a new Facebook page. It's the same name here, Sketchy and Spooky Journeys. You can find us on almost all the things, YT, Instagram, here. But yeah, I definitely think I feel that more stuff will be gravitated more towards that YT platform and FB page, and come spring. Like between March and April, I think things will be more heavy hitting on those things instead of here. So I would definitely recommend keep an eye out for those pages in the meantime.
Awesome. Well, and it's been so much fun talking to you tonight. We had a great time. I know everyone in chat had a good time. They were having a good time. They're watching the conversation.
For joining us.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, no, really, thank you so much for having me. I'm just sorry Joey couldn't join it tonight. He's tired from work and everything. But he did wanted me to tell you guys hello and thanks for asking us. And I'll have to tell him about your event in May. So
well, we'll definitely have you guys back on in the future to talk about some more of your drawings.
Yeah.
And, everyone in chat, thank you so much for tuning in. Nina Marie Volmer coming on to give free tarot card readings for everyone who wants
Oh, I think we clicked out there for a second, Ryan.
Yeah,
it froze.
yeah, I noticed that. I was like, oh, things have kind
What
of
is
paused on
happening?
my.
I was like, oh god, the TikTok is are getting mad at me for saying
No.
those terrible words. But we'll be back here Tuesday night, same freaking awesome time.
Same freaking awesome show.
See you guys later.
Bye,
Bye.
everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.